Welcome back to the Andrew Finney Show, where we help you make sense of real estate. I'm your host, Andrew Finney, with King Realty Group here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A couple of quick ground rules. The first thing is you're in a safe place. Please be respectful and polite. And the second thing is there is no such thing as a stupid question. If it's on your mind and you're thinking it, please ask it. If you catch us after the live stream, please feel free to ask it in the comment section below, and then we will talk about it in the next live stream. So let's go ahead and lead in. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the book of the week. We go over our conversation of this past week, and then we'll go over all the comments that came in on the channel over the past 7 days. And of course, we'll be answering your questions in real time, live, with anything that's pressing on your mind today. So the first thing is the book of the week. The book of the week is called The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. Again, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. It's an awesome book. And the power behind that book is astounding. Essentially, to break it down and see if it's something that you want to read or listen to yourself, it's extremely powerful in understanding how real personalities get into focus and get into the zone of what they want to do. So whenever we're talking about that, she makes a comparison to Marilyn Monroe, and she makes a comparison to Johnny Depp. And when she's making the comparison, she's talking about, a lot of people say, I'm not charismatic. I just don't have it. I couldn't get on camera. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that, which, by the way, is just simply a negative mindset. And the best way to replace it is give yourself some positive energy, some positive mojo, and be like the little choo-choo train that says, I think I can, I think I can. The purpose of what Olivia is talking about, though, is how people that would otherwise not seem charismatic, or people wouldn't think are charismatic, come across, and how they get into the zone. It may be not, maybe you know this about Johnny Depp, but he's actually a very shy person. In his real life, in his personal life, he's not nearly as outgoing or eccentric or as buoyant as he is on camera. So how does somebody with such an amiable personality go into such a high intensity and focus zone? That's what Olivia talks about in that book. It's all about setting up your mindset, and it's all about just focusing in on what you want to accomplish and visualizing what you wish to do. The same thing with Marilyn Monroe, where she would go into the zone. It's like a light switch. If you think about it, flipping on the light switch, time to go into positive energy, time to go into high energy, time to give your best and be completely in the moment and fully present in the moment at the same time. Now, a couple of quick ways that I use this in my own life and my own real estate practice are very simple. Look, I talk to a lot of people in the course of a day. Whenever I'm talking to, on an average day, I'm probably reaching out to a minimum of 60 people I need to follow up with. And that's in addition to the people that are coming in as new business opportunities to work with them and helping them buy or sell real estate. So that's a lot. So, you can have a really good conversation with one, but then you got to get on the call with the next, and you got to give your best and absolute focused intensity and just drive it forward with giving and listening attentively to what's most important to them about the real estate process, so I can take notes and I can listen to them. But if I take the negative energy that I may have had on a specific call, or, if I got pulled over this morning or something, guess what? It's not okay for me to put that off on somebody else. I've got to be in the zone 100% of the time to give my absolute best to the people that I work with, because they deserve the best, and they deserve the dignity, and they deserve the respect to be listened to and understood and not sold. I don't believe in selling anybody anything. I believe in providing information to help people make a well-informed decision. If I'm not focused and in the moment, I can't do that. So think about the ways that you could use it in your life. I also use these techniques before I come on camera, whether it's recorded or whether it's live. Obviously, being live like we are right now is a little bit more tricky. I got to be a little bit more, even more focused than usual to answer the questions, to respond as things come in. And sometimes I might not know the answer to the question as much as I would love to answer the question. So I always do my best, but everything is from a position of love, a position of respect, a position of just wanting to connect with you and help you make sense of the real estate process, answer any life questions you might have that I could help with, and share from my life experiences as well. It's about bonding. It's about camaraderie. And that's why the book, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane, is so powerful to me. I'll link it, or I can't link it. I tried it last week to do that, but I can at least reference the book and name it by the title of the book, The Charisma Myth, and who wrote it, Olivia Fox Cabane. It's available on Audible. It's available on Amazon. Do whatever it is that you like to do. Maybe it's right for you. So now, I do see a couple of people that have joined us live. Antonio Leah, thank you so much. You're saying good morning, Andrew. Keep up the good work on these informational videos. Antonio, thank you so much. Here's a little bit of a sneak peek of previews to come. I should probably set up like a Patreon account or something so that if people wanted to donate to the channel and help me grow the channel and grow the real estate practice, they would be able to support it on an ongoing basis. It'd really help with the cost of the videos, but that's beside the point. But what I'm working on right now, and it comes out beginning of January, and then you're going to notice this through the 2019 and moving forward, is I'm shooting with my Sony A7S II, which is just the type of camera that it is, and it's a 4. So the quality of the videos are freaking amazing. The audio quality, I'm using a mic, a very special mic that's adapted to the camera to get the best audio quality as well. I've also working with some video editors and making the videos really, really come alive and pop. So there's going to be a lot of changes to the thumbnails, the format, the flow, the rhythm of the videos. And it's something that I just pour my heart and soul into these videos. So I wanted to share that with you. When you're saying keep up these informational videos, Antonio, when you come back on the 1st of January, when the very first video coming out next year is about the housing market predictions for 2019, and then you start watching the other videos going forward, I love your feedback when we're live, offline. Hit me up on email, whatever. And I love everybody's feedback that's watching, just to let me know. I'm looking to continue growing the channel and get this information and these videos into the hands of as many people as possible to help them make well-informed real estate decisions, and also hopefully pick up some positive mojo along the way. That said, Antonio, I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Judith Thomas, you said Judith. Well, hi, Judith. I'm glad that you're here with us today. Thank you for being here. Darren Carter says, good afternoon, Andrew. Yep, it's 11 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, buddy, but I know where you are, and it is definitely afternoon over there. And I hope that you're enjoying an amazing day today, Darren, and I'm glad that you were able to stop by today as well. Okay, so the conversation of the week was a lady that have watched one of the YouTube videos, and she was in contract. She's actually out of Ohio. I'll keep her name private for her own privacy and respect of her. But she had contacted me, and she was quite flustered. What she's dealing with is she's in contract on a home. She thought that she would be able to close on her home by now. She actually went into the escrow process, got the offer accepted back in the beginning part of October. So now here we are coming up on the ending part of December. She should have really been closed a long time ago. So I asked her what's going on, and she's like, well, I have a VA loan. I was being told that it takes a long time to process these loans, and then the appraiser went out there. We haven't got the appraisal back yet. I said, hold up. First of all, a VA loan, which for reference, if you don't know what that is, a VA loan is a type of loan available to active duty and veteran military people of the United States, right? So first of all, she's being served a disservice despite her great service to our nation, which is uncalled for and disrespectful in my opinion. Because here's the reality, a VA loan is a federally backed loan. As a federally backed loan, there's federal regulations that govern us as real estate practitioners and also loan practitioners of how to get this done. So with an appraisal, it should always be done within 10 days from the date of being ordered for the appraisal of a VA loan. So that's number one. Number two, I'd asked her, well, have you chatted with your trusted real estate advisor to get some updates, or chatted with your loan officer to get some updates of where you are? And she said, no. That's why I'm so freaking irritated, Andrew, because I'm not getting answers. I came across your video and I really felt like I could trust you, and I wanted to reach out to you and see what you had to say. And I said, first of all, let's break this down, because this is not cool. You should have already been closed on your home, and barring any unforeseen, obviously, circumstances or anything that I may not be privy to, since I'm not the agent in the transaction. I mean, just disclaiming that out front. At the same time, as a matter of practice, she's not in an attorney state, so there should be no added time to the closing for her property. So the appraisal should have been done a long time ago. Thankfully, it sounds like the seller's working with her, which is freaking amazing, and God bless them for their patience in this transaction. And I told her, I said, you need to talk to them. And she said, I haven't heard from my agent in like 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't heard from my loan officer in like 2 weeks. And I'm really nervous about what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And to me, as a trusted real estate advisor, and if you're another real estate advisor, or if you're a loan officer watching this right now, that is pathetic. And there is no excuse for that piss poor performance. There is no reason as a trusted real estate advisor, you can't be contacting your clients every single week at a minimum. The reality is, I always share with people, I will personally be in touch with you at least once a week when we're in contract, at least once a week. In reality, I'm probably in touch with the people that are in contract 2 to 3 times or more a week, and sometimes 4 or 5 times in a day, depending on what's going on, because it's so important to ensure that people have peace of mind and clarity and have the comfort and confidence moving forward in their real estate transaction. It's inexcusable for anybody not to be able to do that that's in the professional capacity that helps somebody with the biggest investment of their life, which is buying or selling a home. That's not cool. So I told her, I said, get on the phone with your trusted real estate advisor, get on the phone with your loan officer, and have essentially a coming to God meeting with them and let them know what your expectations are going path forward. If they don't answer, take it to the next step. Contact the broker that's in charge of that agent. Contact the broker that's in charge of that loan officer. I said, I really hate to say that, but at the end of the day, if you're not being communicated with and you don't know where you are in the process, that's a problem. And it's one that needs to get addressed right away so that you can know exactly where you're in the process and start getting updates immediately about what's going on moving forward, even if it's just a simple call to say, hey, you know what, there are no real updates today, but I wanted to give you a call and see how else I can help out. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, is helping people be comfortable and confident. And how can you do that if you're not communicating? You got to communicate. You got to keep it real, and you got to be honest, whether it's good news, bad news, or no news. What I've learned in this business and what I heard once from a mentor of mine is that, he said, look, Andrew, what people do is they do absolutely wonderful with great news. I mean, who doesn't, right? They do okay with bad news, but they do absolutely awful, horrible with no news. That's the moral of the story whenever we talk about communication from agents and the professionals in the real estate transaction. Communicate, whether it's good or bad news, communicate. Always be honest, always be transparent, and always keep your best, uphold the best interest of the families that we have the great opportunity and privilege to represent. Anyways, obviously, I went on a bit of a diatribe on that. That's how much I'm passionate about this, and that's why I'm making these videos for you, is to make sure that you know what to expect from your real estate professionals. Technology cannot replace a real estate agent no matter how hard it tries. The interpersonal connection between us when we're in a real estate transaction and helping you gain confidence and keep peace of mind and clarity and focus of where we are throughout the process can never be replaced by any machine. And that's true of many, many professions across the United States and across the world. Something to keep in mind. We cannot, as humans, ever be replaced by a machine. Anyways, that's a whole different topic for another day. Anyhow, I see some other comments. LaRon, thank you for being here. It was great chatting with you earlier today. I'm glad that you're back again. He says, hey, Andrew, I'm here. Let's have some fun. Well, I'm thanking you for being here, LaRon. And as always, we have a wonderful time. Antonio Leah, hey, Andrew, quick question. I am currently working on getting my home, but there was an HOA fee and was not listed on the MLS. And the agent did not mention also it wasn't on the title report. I tell you, that's a very bizarre situation. So how did you find out that they have an HOA fee? There's a couple of different type of HOA fees that come up sometimes when we're in a transaction, and both of which should have been known, quite frankly, and put out on the MLS up front. A listing agent should have been providing that disclosure up front, and they should have done their due diligence prior to listing that property. And it's a realistic question. I mean, obviously, I always know. I do my recon and I do my research before I meet with people to sell their home, but I still ask the question, do you have an HOA? What is the current fee? Do you have a master plan association? If you have a master plan association, what is that fee and when is it due? I also asked, do you have any assessments on this property? Are there any liens against this property? Any encumbrances against this property? Because we need to be prepared to disclose and address those things before we go on the market. Because when you get to the contract phase, the last thing you want to do is be playing around with that information and trying to procure it at that time. So that's number one. So I see that you told me, would you still have to pay the HOA? Yes. If it has an HOA, yes. Whether it was disclosed or not, it's not the HOA's fault it wasn't disclosed. So yes, Antonio, you would still have to pay it. And you said when you signed the seller disclosure. So it's good that the seller disclosed that. And being that the seller had knowledge of that, the listing agent should have put it on the multiple listing service so that you could have known that. Your buyer agent should have dug a little bit deeper on that as well and asked about that. So what you need to do, Antonio, is find out how much that HOA fee is, when it's due, and also why not ask them if there's a master plan association fee due, which is a whole separate entity of a HOA fee that goes to a master plan community if the house that you're buying is in a master plan community itself. If not, then you probably only have the one. I also asked if there's any assessments or anything else going on. So you said it wasn't in the preliminary title report. That's kind of a shocker. It really should have been. It should have shown that there's actually they call them instruments on a preliminary title report. It should have shown that there was an instrument for the HOA that made provisions as of the date that it was built, and what HOA's name it was that was in charge of that. And you should have also received a copy of what's called your CC&Rs, or in short, some people might call it a resale package, which has all the financial documents and all the minutes of some of the different meetings that they've had with that HOA contained within it. And you should be reserving the right to be able to review that information and either agree or disagree. And if you disagree, you would cancel contract. So, I mean, that's something that you really need to get clear about with your trusted real estate advisor. Is something that you need to get clear about with yourself. Now, maybe an HOA is for you, maybe it's not, I don't know. At the same time, only you can make that decision, Antonio. So why not get some perspective on it and have kind of like what we were talking about a moment ago when I say in the convo of the week. Look, it's just important. It's just as important to talk about if people aren't happy with the real estate agents than all the wonderful aspects that go into real estate. It's important to know how they handle the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And what I'm sharing with you right now, Antonio, is how to handle an indifferent or bad, what could potentially be a bad situation, but an indifferent one at the best case at the current time. You need to gain clarity on it and really get clear about why you're buying a house, what's most important to you about buying a house. Can you afford the monthly HOA fee? And how is that going to look going forward? What are you agreeing to by accepting that HOA, buying a house in an HOA? What rules are you going to be needing to abide by to ensure that you don't get fined for breaking these rules? So all of this stuff needs to be disclosed up front. And all of this stuff needs to be considered and thought about up front, Antonio. So please, definitely get with your trusted real estate advisor right now, today. I mean, if you want to finish the live stream, great, or come back to it later, but this is far too important for you to put off. Make that call, get it done, and let us know how it goes, please. Okay, so Darren, wow, my loan officer talked to us at least 5 times a week. You're right, Darren. You're absolutely right. You clearly had a very professional local loan officer working with you. A professional local loan officer or a trusted real estate advisor will always communicate with the families they represent. If it's daily, if it's hourly, or whatever the case may be, they are there for the families they represent, because we are dealing with your home. And it's very important to never lose sight of that reality, because it's the place you're going to call home. And there's a lot of emotions that go into that process. That's why I made that video, the emotional roller coaster of purchasing a home. Everybody experiences it, and it's almost predictable in most cases how people and when people are going to experience different things. Best way to make sure that nobody gets anxiety is to communicate. So I'm glad to hear, obviously we know that you closed on your home, but now 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's really good to hear that you are in extremely good hands with the loan officer and the people that you worked with. So I'm glad to hear that, Darren. Antonio says, or excuse me, all right, we addressed Antonio's. Darren, please explain to the new home buyers, Andrew, about the importance of getting a home warranty negotiated into your contract. We had a plumbing issue when we added our high efficiency washer. Very, very good, Darren, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And yes, I've actually made a pair of videos about home warranties, and one of them is simply what is a home warranty. And other times I talk about throughout the buying videos, getting a home warranty or negotiating, requesting it. And even if you don't get it from the seller, why not buy it yourself? So essentially what a home warranty is going to do, and it depends on the service provider that you're considering. So you want to know what kind of things are being covered. There's different than homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance is homeowners insurance. It's kind of like your car insurance, right? It's an easy way to think about this. You have homeowners insurance and you have car insurance, right? Both of those are insurances in case something catastrophically goes bad with either case, right? And you need to file a claim. Okay, so then what's a warranty? Think of it like a bumper-to-bumper warranty or a limited coverage warranty that's offered from an auto manufacturer, or hell, even a cell phone manufacturer. Some of these cell phones that we buy have these different types of coverages as well. It's a warranty. If something goes out that's covered, then you pay a deductible for it to have it fixed. So this can be massively powerful for you. In the case of what Darren is sharing with us, they had a plumbing issue. So if the warranty company covers that plumbing issue, then he'll pay a deductible, and then they should come out and get the matter addressed. Now, I was very, very blunt and very, very straightforward in the video about what is a home warranty, and it might be a video you want to check out after this. Sometimes dealing with the customer service can be a little bit tedious, but here's the thing. In my own personal residence that I own right now, whenever I bought it back in 2016, everything checked out for the HVAC system. The AC was working, and I closed in June, which, June in Las Vegas is pretty darn hot. So what happened a month after I closed? So now we're in the month of July. And what happened was my AC went out. Fortunately, there was a couple of units on my house, so one of them was working, but the other one wasn't. So it was really, really hot on one side of the house and okay on the other side of the house. So I called up the home warranty company because, of course, I negotiated into the contract. I was my own client and my own buyer agent in that case. So, of course, I was negotiating it, and the seller granted my request so long as I paid all my buyer closing costs. And I was like, hey, I got no problem with that. Buyer closing costs are called buyer closing costs for a reason. I don't have any issue with that. So the seller had bought the home warranty. And it's a good thing that I did have it, because what happened is my deductible was $75. And they came out, they assessed the unit, they tried to repair it, they tried to fix it. A week later, whenever it still wasn't working, they said, hey, you know what, we're going to have to just change this whole unit out. And they did. It was $5,000 for a brand new air conditioning unit. And I paid $75 for it. That's the power of a home warranty, and making sure that at least it covers your big system, maybe a water heater. A water heater is like $1,200. So if you only have to pay $75 to get it done, cool. I mean, rock out, right? Now, it is important to note, and it's also an important question to ask any home warranty provider that you're considering: what is the maximum amount of coverage on a 12-month cycle? So in other words, I quickly found out that the maximum amount of coverage for me was $5,000. So, that's what it was. I didn't know that. I had never had to use a home warranty claim before that. So it's something that I learned in practice in my own real life that I can share with you now today to hopefully help you make a decision whether that's something you want to request in the contract phase, or if it's something that you want to purchase on your own after the fact. Now, a lot of these are 12 months in duration only. So if you want to renew it, it's important to renew it as well. And oftentimes a home warranty company might give you a little bit of a less of a fee the next 12-month cycle if you renew with them. So it's something to consider and something to think about whether it's right for you. So Darren, you're saying that you guys paid $50 and they paid for the rest. Absolutely amazing. So I'm glad to hear that the plumbing issue was fixed for your high efficiency HVAC system, and that all you had to pay was $50 to get it done. Calling out a plumber at cost would have probably been at least $300 at least. It just seems kind of like a basic number: 200, 400, 800, up by the 200s or up by the 300s, depending on where you live. So Darren, thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so without further ado, now that we've covered those, then why don't we start getting into some of the comments that came in while we're waiting for you to make any other, ask any other questions you may have or anything that you want to share with us. So Aramac Photography watched Top 10 Habits of Highly Successful Real Estate Investors, and he simply says, great video. Thank you, Aramac Photography. I'm glad that you enjoyed the video, and I'm glad that hopefully it's getting you on the right track for your real estate investing career, or just opportunities that you're looking for in investing. Okay, then Rona Power Salad watched Buying an Old House: 7 Ways to Avoid a Nightmare. And Rona says, that is wise advice. Ask a question, then let silence do the heavy lifting. Let the seller do the talking. Absolutely. In the video, and I've said this in several of the videos that I've made, when you're asking a question, sometimes it's the best thing in the world to do is to let silence do the heavy lifting. If I just stopped talking right now, where would your mind go, and what would you do? Case in point, with just a few seconds, right? It starts making you think, how do you fill the void? And most people will start talking, or, what's he doing? Or what's going on over there? What is this? And most people will find silence a little uncomfortable and want to fill the void. But if you do that by asking a question, then stop and you look at them, it's a really powerful thing that you can do, because they're going to feel like they're supposed to give you an answer, because they are. You asked a question, and now you're being very respectful and polite by simply closing the mouth and listening. So when we ask a question, it's best to listen for the answer, right? So it's a great tip, and I'm glad, Rona, I'm extremely excited that you picked up on that, because that is a very powerful negotiation tactic anywhere, not just in real estate, but in anything that we do in life. It's a powerful negotiation tactic. Okay, Julius Jones was watching The Truth About Paying Off Collections to Boost Your Credit Score, and Julius says the only problem is that somebody actually needs to have a job. Yep, You do need to have a job to make that work. Absolutely, you do. And hopefully, Julius, if that's your situation right now, you are finding gainful employment with hopefully a profession or a vocation that you enjoy doing. All the same, sending you positive mojo and energy that everything gets on track the way that you would like to see happen in your life. Okay. Imogene watched 7 things most homeowners don't know they need to do. Imogene says, "Hi, Andrew. Thanks for the video. I didn't know anything about a homestead, but I'll be asking prior to my closing at the end of the month." So, Imogene, I'm glad that you picked up on that. Excuse me. So, when we're talking about a homestead, I made another video. What is a homestead, right? Or how to file a homestead exemption. It doesn't necessarily apply across the board to all 50 United States. Some states have it, some states don't. But it's one of the things that you definitely want to investigate. And what a homestead does, and they may work different, actually they do, work slightly different state to state of how it takes its form and how it's put into motion, because it's more of a state or a county thing than it is anything. But here in Las Vegas, Nevada, my advice to people is to always set up a homestead. The reason that I advise that here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the reason that I was sharing that information in that video about what is a homestead exemption is because it protects your biggest asset, being your home. So with your homestead, it's something that's going to cost like $50, I think. And once you get that done, it'll give you protection. If somebody, God forbid, you got in a really bad car accident, you went through a really bad lawsuit, they can't take your house. They can take everything else that you have, but they couldn't take your house. Or if you were in a position that you were forced to sell, it protects you to a certain cap of money, of equity. And that's why it's so powerful, right? So, I mean, none of us wake up in the morning, oh, I'm going to get in an awful car accident today, or I'm going to cause a big problem today and get into a big litigation lawsuit, and I'm going to lose. None of us wake up. I really don't believe that any of us as people wake up thinking that that's what the intention of the day is, right? So it's one of those things that whenever we talk about homeowners insurance, homeowners warranty, and then now homestead, if it's available in your state, SMART. Peace of mind, clarity, confidence. Remember, fear is just an acronym for false evidence appearing real. The best way to replace fear is with what? Knowledge. So in this case, replacing some fear of the what if can be mitigated by adding a homeowner's insurance, a home warranty, and now a homestead if it's something that's available in your state. Take a look at the video and see if it's something that you're open to. And again, the title of that video is What is a Homestead Exemption? Okay. Imogene, I'm glad that you picked up on that, by the way. So thank you so much. Homestead is something that I do want to put one little caveat on that, Imogene. So when you're saying that it's something that you'll be asking about prior to your closing at the end of the month, it's not something more than likely a seller is going to pay. It's something that sometimes you have to wait until after you close, or it's something that you can talk to with your escrow officer, your title, and ask them if it's something that you can do prior to closing. Either way, it's something that you should talk to your escrow title folks with right away and see if it's going to work out for you if you guys do have that, okay? But great question. I'm glad you picked up on that. Sweet Pea was watching USDA loans, not just for farmers and cows. One of my original videos that I made when I was trying to be a little bit funny. And, when I was still learning how to make a video. Anyways, that said, Sweet Pea's shared a lot of information in here, and I do want to get into what Sweet Pea's asking. So Sweet Pea says, I am applying for the 405 renovation loan for rural areas and getting my documentation together. I am completely gutting a back room that is under a flat roof that is not part of the main roof because a tree fell on it 4 years ago. My question is that I cannot account for unseen... Okay, so let me rephrase her question here. The question is, being that they cannot account for any unforeseen problems like foundation work, she can see that the foundation from under the floor, but not from the outside because somebody put concrete blocks turned the wrong way and put railroad ties on top of blocks to hold up the back wall. They suspect that excavation work has been done and they will possibly need to add concrete block on the existing foundation, but will not know for sure about the roof or the front wall until it's completely demoed. So the question really is becoming, should I overestimate? And if so, what happens to the money that I might not use? Also, can I borrow money for drywall that I will do later? So being that Sweet Pea is asking in regards to a very specific loan program, which is a USDA loan available to members, available to citizens of our country in rural America only, then it's an entirely different ball of wax in different ways. When you talk about a 504 renovation loan, it's similar to like an FHA renovation loan, and they have to find different contractors. They have to give the information to the lender. The lender will only pay a certain amount until the work is done, or won't pay the work and pay for the work until the work is done and inspected to make sure it is done correctly. So what happens when they're asking, should I overestimate? And if so, what happens to the money? Well, that's a conversation for you and your local loan officer. To be honest with you, Sweet Pea, since I'm not a loan officer, and to be honest with you, as many different loans that I've worked with and different types of loans I've worked with, USDA is not one of them because I live in Las Vegas. It is available in Clark County, but the areas that it's available to, I normally don't commute to. I tend to stick around in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson because we got 2.5 million people here, and there's no need for me to leave the city. And there, obviously, being a city, we don't have the USDA inside of the Las Vegas city itself any longer. There was a time when I first started, we did, but it was a loan program that very few people ever used, and I never had the benefit of learning from real experience of working with somebody on that loan. That said, whenever I made that video with the loan officer in question, Josh Coomer, at the time he was with Man Mortgage, now he's with Cardinal Financial. You could also reach out to Josh. His phone number that I put in the show more description is still the same. His email has changed, but his phone number is the same if you want to discuss that with him. Now, obviously, since you are in the process right now, Sweet Pea, the best thing that you could do is simply call the local loan officer that you're working with right now and review the matter also with your trusted real estate advisor so everybody's on the same sheet of music. When you're talking about any issues that you might not be able to see, that would be the reason why one of our great members of our community had asked me to make a video about latent defect versus material defects. That might be a video that you would like to watch, or anybody that's watching right now is curious about the differences between a latent defect versus a material defect. Essentially what Sweet Pea is describing when she's talking about unforeseen problems is called a latent defect because you can't see it. Material defect, pretty easy to see because it's there, right? But a latent defects are those things that cannot be accounted for based upon a home inspection, unfortunately, and things that we always as homeowners have to prepare for just in case. Now, what is interesting is that Sweet Pea is definitely doing the due diligence, doing everything correct, and definitely coming up with a game plan for what needs to happen. So Sweet Pea, if you'd be so kind as to maybe hop on sometime when we're live, or send me an update on a different video, comment, email, what have you. Let us know how everything worked out. That'd be great. I'd love to share your experiences working through the USDA 504 renovation loan process with our community, so that gives other people talking points and questions that they could ask the loan officer they might be working with about the same type of program. That'd be really good. You know, continuing to learn and grow together at large, right? Either way, really appreciate you bringing that up, and thank you so much for taking the time to comment on that video. All right, so Haiti watched 10 ways to know you found the right house. And Haiti says, I feel all of those things for a house I saw on Sunday, and gives one of those smiley face with the hearts in the eyes. So he's really super excited. It's like, the little hearts everywhere, right? So, and she says, I hope I end up getting it, fingers crossed. So Haiti, here we go. Here's the Google eyes back to you, right? And here's the fingers crossed and sending you the positive mojo and energy that house that you fell in love with, whenever I was talking about the 10 ways to know that you found the right house, and you're saying you're experiencing each of them, I hope that you get the home too. So we're sending you positive mojo, Haiti, and just know that we have your back. If you'd be so kind as to give us an update and let us know if you got the house and how everything's working out for you, that would be lovely. Okay, so Versetti Rare, watch Homeowners Insurance 8 Types Explained. Versetti Rare says, I'm taking my PNC exam this Friday. Any tips? So just for reference, when you're talking about what is a PNC exam, for most of us, we wonder what that is. A PNC exam is a property and casualty exam. Now, who would need to take this exam? An insurance agent. I am not an insurance agent, unfortunately, so I won't, or fortunately, whatever. I mean, I can only wear so many hats when you're talking about it. I'm looking at my note over here. So when we're talking about that, Versetti, your PNC exam, best thing to do is always get a good night's rest. Make sure that you're studied up on the material. Make sure that you go in calm, cool, and collected, and be ready for your test. And I mean, those are just general test taking tips that are always wise. Eat your breakfast, do those kind of things so that your energy and your mind's right. And don't freak out. Take your time, read the question, read the answers that are available if it's multiple choice, or consider your writing your answer if you're going to be writing any portion, if there's any essay portions for you, and just think through it. And don't rush it, think through it. Those are just general test taking things. So when you're talking about a PNC, that's for insurance. When I made that video, Homeowners Insurance 8 Times Explained, I made it very clear that I'm not an insurance agent inside of that video, and in the show more description that this was all an informational video. If you're curious about the different types of homeowners insurance and you're watching right now, it's probably a really good video for you to refer back to, because I found it highly enlightening doing my research for it. And the reason that I made it is that we as homeowners need to understand all the different available coverages that we can have that can be available to us, and what those coverages look like. So in it, there's 8 main broad categories of homeowners insurance. So you'll learn a lot more about homeowners insurance, probably more than you wanted to know from that video, or maybe everything that you did want to know from that video. And then you'll be ready to have a robust conversation with your insurance agent. Andy, thank you for being here. Andy says, hey, Andrew, stopping by to wish you and yours a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for all you do. Andy, really appreciate you being here, and wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. Really appreciate you, buddy. Always happy to see when you come on the live stream. Thank you. Anthony Perez watched 6 home selling negotiation strategy mistakes. Anthony says, made a deal on a house and the seller is now trying to back out because he has another offer. I told him I would have respected that during the negotiations, but not days after we already have a signed contract. What should I do? What you should do, Anthony, is have a great conversation with your trusted real estate advisor and make sure that they honor what they agreed to with you in selling that home. It is possible. Now, can a seller back out? Well, I made a video about that. Yes, they can actually back out of a contract, the same as a buyer could underneath different contingencies. So it's something that you want to be made aware of. Now, what I would be thinking, if that seller might have got offered more, a better deal or whatever, but they're still in contract with you. And if they broke the contract with you saying that they just didn't want to sell anymore, and then they went into contract with somebody else, it's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? So it's something that you want to discuss with your trusted real estate advisor, because you have an agreement and you need to understand that real estate contracts are legally binding. So there is an agreement at hand. So to explore the options with your trusted real estate advisor, and ask them for any suggestions of how those contracts work in your specific area and what your options are moving forward. Ideally, the seller just say, hey, yeah, great, we're in contract, let's go ahead and close. Because here's what could happen, because this happens sometimes. All right, sorry about that. It looks like we dropped there for a moment. So I'm not sure what the last thing is that you had heard, but we were talking about Anthony Perez. He got a deal put together on his house. The seller is trying to back out, and he wonders what his options are. What I was going into is that he should have a really good conversation with his trusted real estate advisor, understand what his options are in his area for that circumstance and situation. And where I was going next with it was saying, in reality, whenever I have sometimes sellers contact me, asking me if they can break contracts and such, I always ask them the same thing. Why would you want to do that? Do you still want to sell your home? If they tell me they still want to sell their house, then why do you want to break the contract? Oh, well, I got offered more. I got offered this. I got offered that. Weren't you happy with the offer that you already have? Well, yeah. Okay. And with the offer that you have now, has it even been vetted? No, it was just somebody tell me they would have given me more. Of course they would tell you that. But what happens if you break that contract? You still think they're going to give you more? Probably not. They were just telling you whatever it took to get you on the hook and get you to break it. Something to think about, something to be real about, and something to consider, because people would do that kind of stuff every day of the week. Meanwhile, you would have pissed the hell off out of the buyer, and the buyer just ain't going to come back even if you begged them. So it's important to be clear on that. So Anthony, the best suggestion is to get with your trusted real estate advisor, review your options, and have your trusted real estate advisor reach out to the listing agent and see what can be done to ensure that everybody's happy and comfortable moving forward together, so that the seller can get what they want, which is selling the house, and you can get what you want, which is moving into your new house. Let us know how it goes, and let us know what steps were taken in that decision-making process and how you guys move forward together. It'd be great to hear from you, Anthony, with an update on that. Really appreciate you. Okay, Dilcia Tejada watched top 15 home renovations that add value. Decelia says, excellent info. Thanks a lot. Decelia, thank you so much for watching that video, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Okay, so here we are, my friends. We are coming up on minute marker number 40. Now, I know that everybody is probably rushing around getting ready for the holiday next week and getting ready for New Year's thereafter. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the live stream right now. If you guys have any questions that come in or it's something that you think about after the fact, please leave it in the comments or hit me up directly on email. It's a little bit easier whenever I'm live streaming if you hit me up on the comments because I just open it up on one side of my monitor and then I can read the questions right away and go through that again. HH says, thanks once again. HH, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you being here. In the meantime, I'm wishing everybody a very safe and a very fun holiday season. And if you're traveling, please be careful. And seriously, and we'd love to see you back next week. Yes, I will be live streaming next week. Next week will be the last live stream of this year. All right, Ty H, Merry Christmas. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Darren Carter, have a good holiday, Andrew, from the Carter family. From mine to yours, Darren, and to everybody watching this now or later. Wishing each of you very happy holidays as well. LaRon Hall, thanks, Andrew. You were great. Thank you, LaRon. Look forward to catching up with you again soon. And everybody, in between now and next time, make sure you're enjoying a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. See you next week and enjoy a beautiful day.